The first thing is I want to punch Adam. So that's the first thing I'm going to do when I get there, because this is all his stinking fault. Actually, it's Eve, but we're not going to get into that. The second thing I want to do is I want to meet Jesus, because I've spent how long have I spent? Well, 7 years in school, and then beyond that, how long have I been saved? 12 years? 12 years? Wow, it's been long, 12 years. For 12 years, I've been seeking to know more about Jesus Christ and to know more about the historical person, but not just the historical person, but the divine person, the Jesus being God, whole kind of confusing thing. And I've searched out that to the point that I went 7 years of school, dedicated my entire life to it, and made my wife's life miserable by becoming a pastor and all kinds of stuff, just so that I could get to know Jesus a little bit better. So that is really actually the first thing I want to do. I'll punch Adam second. Whatever. But it'll work out just fine. I really don't care about my Bema seat moment, except that I want Jesus to be proud of me. It's kind of like we give the imagery of Jesus being Father, right? God being Father, and we want our dad to be proud of us, or our mom to be proud of us, or a loved one to be proud of us, whatever your situation. And that's kind of how I feel about my Bema seat moment, when he plays before my eyes, not only my entire life, but all the intersections that happened in my life, the people that I interacted with, and so on and so forth. And you start to see people that actually came to believe in Jesus because of you, and you didn't even know, and so on and so forth. Or you get to see that nobody did, and dad's not as happy. It's not a heaven or hell issue. It's just your Christian life played before your eyes. Your Christian life, because you've been made new. You don't get a new start, because your past is your past and you have to live with your past the rest of your life. But the reality is that we get to become new. We get to become a new person, so that at the end, when the rapture happens, I believe before the tribulation, that the church, the true believers, I talked about the difference between the true believers and the religious ones. And that the religious ones will actually be the ones that usher in the Antichrist. That's kind of weird, eh? Pastor Kevin said something about the end. I thought the rapture happened, and he alluded to the fact that he was still here, and we thought that was funny. And he said to me, actually, he was going to say church as usual after the rapture, because he was joking, saying that our whole church will still be here. He was being mean. Not very nice, eh? He'll be here, but... There's lots of books and different things out. Hey, just because you're a pastor doesn't mean you're actually serving Jesus. Sounds kind of weird, right? But I don't know about you, but I know lots of fakers in life. So challenge us. Make us live what it is that we're saying to you, and call us on it, because we're more accountable for that than anybody. The Bible actually says that your pastors will be judged even harder. So sucks to be me. But I'm asking you to help me with that. So call me on my life. Call me on my lifestyle. Call me on the interactions I have with you, and I'll probably lip you off, but you'll get over it. So that is that simple judgment. We believe it's going to happen before the tribulation. Then the tribulation happens. So the church is raptured. We're pulled out, away, and then 7 years of tribulation happen. That's where 7 really crappy years. At the 3.5-year mark, is when the Antichrist breaks his deal with Israel. So the bringing in of the tribulation is the rapture, and then the Antichrist makes this peace deal. So peace in the Middle East, right? Makes this peace deal with Israel, and Bono gets his way, and all earth has peace for a very short period of time. And then about 3.5 years in, Daniel and Revelation both say that, and Ezekiel alludes to it, both say that the Antichrist will break that. And then all hell's going to break loose, basically, because he's going to insist that he or she or whatever, it's Obama. It's retarded. It doesn't say he's black. So, oh my gosh. Like every ECE student just dove on me. And DSW, yeah. I'm sorry, I mean it in a different sense. Relax. The tribulation, we believe that we won't be here if you're a true believer in Jesus Christ, that you'll be delivered from that. You'll be with Jesus. Your Bema seat moment will happen, and you're just going to hang out with Jesus for a while. For 7 years, you're going to hang out with Jesus. Then, at the end of the 7 years, is the coming back of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ comes back, and the millennial begins. And let's see, what do I got here? Okay, the tribulation is said to be at the time in which God will make Israel pass under its rod. So the tribulation, the where Israel fits in the tribulation is they will have to go through it. They're going to have to go through it for 7 years. And it's kind of a testing period for Israel, going through different things. Like Israel hasn't had enough of those tests in their life that God's going to take them through more. But that's kind of the biggest point of the tribulation. It's a judgment upon the time of nations of Israel, and it'll result in the death of 2/3 of the Israelite nation. So in that 7-year period, the Bible says that 2/3 of the Israelite nation will die. Weird, eh? It's not really like a fluffy book that is all, Jesus with lambs around his feet hugging people and stuff like that. It doesn't sound like that. It isn't all like that. I mean, there is some hellfire and brimstone. There is judgment at the end of this, but it's not the kind of judgment, where somebody's judging you for what you're wearing, or somebody's judging you whether you're cool or not, or our society way of judging people. It's a judgment that we believe that God is a just God, but actual true justice. In other words, you get what you deserve. And it's interesting because the judgment of non-believers, the judgment of people that don't accept Christ, in that they will actually be shown all of the times that they had opportunity to know Christ. Because the Bible gave us a command, right? The Bible gave us a command to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind. Love your neighbor as yourself. There's our lifestyle thing right there. We're supposed to love God and we're supposed to love others. And then he said, go into all the nations, right? And he said to Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and beyond, all of the world that we're supposed to take the gospel. It's interesting in church history, too, that Christianity was almost wiped out by Islam. Islam and Christianity have been fighting against each other for years. There's belief that the line of Seth and the line of Ishmael, the line of Seth being the Christian side, the line of Ishmael being the Islam side. I don't know. I have looked at that a little bit, probably, but I don't know. I don't have the time to go that deep. That's John Hagee. He can do that and gain weight. And I hate fat preachers. I don't know why. But anyway. Well, gluttony's a sin, right? So, Nitro, I told you to be quiet. So, let's move on. I want to talk a little bit about the millennium, about some of the things that are going to happen as I fast track through this. Satan will be bound for the 1,000 years. So what's happened here is the church has been raptured, 7 years of tribulation where Israel goes through a lot of people die, and then the millennium comes in where Christ comes back, we come with him. So we come with him, the church comes with him, and we are on earth for 1,000 years where Jesus Christ is king of everything, where he'll sit on the Davidic throne, the throne of David, and he will reign over all. And what's happening is they are bounding Satan for 1,000 years. Now, they're not conquering Satan yet. They're just bounding him. It's like they're tying him to a tree and he can't go anywhere sort of thing for a 1,000-year period. So that's the first thing, and that's found in chapter 20, verses 1-3, if you want to read that in Revelation. And in verses 4-6, the first resurrection. The tribulation, I'll tell you who is there. The faithful are raised and enter the millennium with the church. So the people that were faithful during the tribulation, that were faithful to God, are going to join the church in the millennium. Okay? So, and those who remain alive on the earth after the tribulation will also go in to the millennium period. Now, in the millennium period, because Satan is bound, we've not gotten rid of sin, but we've gotten rid of temptation.